Hello, hello, everyone.
Hello, hello.
Let me just make sure got the audio correct, that we can hear everything. Bear with me for a second. How are you doing, McKenzie? How's your day?
Doing
Correct.
great. How are you, White Pill?
I'm doing great. Spent most of the day in. It snowed where I'm at, so it's very, very cold. But that's okay. The snow is plenty pretty to look at, so it's worth it.
That's nice. Most definitely. Well, that's lovely. Okay, so maybe it sounds like you have a white Christmas in store.
For now, for the first couple of days. But once it warms up in the city here, everything just kind of turns gray. So you enjoy it while you can, you know. But there's not much you can do against all that.
True. Well, that's nice. It's nice to have a snow day. Yeah.
That's right.
It was really like the weather here today was really nice, actually. It was very fresh. It was very refreshing. It was like it was a perfect sunny winter day. And of course, also happy solstice.
Yes, today is actually the winter solstice. I totally forgot.
Yeah. So I thought it was a lovely solstice.
Yes, yes, it was definitely nice out today. A little bit of housekeeping before we get into the podcast today. There are some new things that you'll see on the Outsider Supply profile here. We have a new link where we have all of our socials, all of our channels are up here. We're missing one. I actually just realized we forgot to upload this one. We're now uploading all of these episodes on YouTube. And so anytime we do a live stream or any kind of new content that's going to be uploaded, it's going to be dispersed through all these channels. We're on Spotify as well. But all podcast episodes or video episodes or what have you, any recordings are going to be on Spotify and YouTube. So gotta add that to the to-do list for later tonight to add that link. And you can find that in our profile link, or just type in bio.link / outsider supply, and you'll be able to find all our stuff there. Perfect.
Yeah, we're out there in the internet.
That's right. That's right. Speaking of the internet, actually, in terms of the topic that I wanted to discuss with you today, um, a lot has been made about uh, the impact of AI tech on the art world, specifically in the realm of creators and people using AI to create art. And there's naturally been a lot of controversy as a result of that. A lot of people saying that it's not art or that it doesn't count as art, and this weird definition game that everyone seems to be playing with it. But what's your take on it? Do you think that AI art is real art?
Mhm. I mean, yeah, I think art is in the eye of the beholder. It might even just be an objective fact beyond that too. So for me, you can call it art, and as always, people can decide if they like that or not. I see the AI element as both a medium and also kind of a collaboration. It's like a human and data collab in language. It's quite interesting, you know? So, yeah, I don't know, like after that you just decide if you like the art, you know? I like that MacBook. What's his name?
Oh,
Mac
Mac Bakanai, yes.
yeah, back and I.
Yeah, he is solid with his aesthetics. I don't know what kind of prompting he does to get these kind of images, but it is striking, to say the least. Like, it's just I love his Office Space ones more than anything, to be honest. Like these, I don't know, 70s, 80s type like CRT film grain. I don't even know what other words I could use to get the style down, but it's just something about it that is so old world and new world clashing, the combination of the two.
Totally. I know, and I just like some of it does just really gives you a feeling, interesting feelings. epic feelings for sure. Epic. I like it.
Well, it just
Yeah,
like
so
it
it's
rem-
like I have no idea how to make that image at all. I know like back when I was playing around with Midjourney a lot, it would take me like 2 hours to really get to a prompt that I figured out that I liked or like make an image that I fully liked a lot of times. It would take me like sometimes it would take me a while just like figure out how to start commanding stuff and it still was very inexact. So how you're going about getting that level of detail and aesthetic, I don't even know. Like I'm just so curious. I don't even know what's out there. That's like that looks so good.
well
Just
that
so good.
this isn't his art. This is like a still image from when they were filming Star Wars 4. But the
Yes.
style reminds me of it in the same way that like how the computers are laid out, the people, it reminds me of like that old style of filmmaking. Like it looks so idiosyncratic.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah,
We
he's
could leave
he's
it up. We could leave Darth Vader up there for a second too. I like that image a lot.
sure.
There's just
Uh,
something to be said for an image that actually makes you feel something or like it actually looks like, it is actually visually catching your eye. So that's what, it's like there's a lot of art in the world. And so when it comes down to it, it's like what catches your eye and then what feeling and then yeah, what do you think? What do you think about it? I
um,
think it's art.
I no, I certainly do think it's art. It all it does is change. I think the problem starts when we start playing this game of like, okay, so what's the threshold for actual art? Because if you really think about it, like you could make that argument for any kind of tech. Like the argument that like, oh, this isn't really art, in the sense that like, before the original quote unquote art was cave paintings, right? It started with cave paintings with different pigments and blood and so on and so forth. When nowadays, like, you don't need to go out and paint on the cave. You can buy a canvas at the Dollar Tree for $1.50 or something like that, and you can get the paints and everything is cheap. So like, as if we were to able to like resurrect a caveman and ask his opinion on art, would he call that art just because it's like cheaper and easier to access? Like I don't know. It just seems like a much bigger leap and bound in tech and capabilities that people are having a hard time um, understanding or accepting the fact that it is just yet another tool. Like there's a lot of AI art that is slop, that like it doesn't look good. Um, Whether it's the prompting or what, like sometimes you could just tell looking at an image. Like let me put it up here. Amazon AI art book. Like there's been an explosion on Amazon as a result of how easy it is to make AI stuff, of all these books that people have made, where the design and the art cover and everything, uh, it's supposed to like look like it's an indie creation when in reality it is someone's art. Um, I don't know if I'll be able to find an example here. Let me see if I can find an actual Amazon page. I was actually looking at a book yesterday that someone made of the Toronto slang. Let me see if I can. Yeah, here it is. So here's an image, right? And if you zoom in, you can tell, like, okay, well, the text is clearly warped in certain areas, or just the way that the characters are drawn. Like, this is certainly AI art. Kind of looks like slop, in my opinion. But
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
it's
Mhm.
art. It's art nonetheless. Like, you might not like it, it might not be good quality, but it doesn't change the definition of the fact that it's art. AI is just another tool. That's the way that I see it. Now,
Absolutely. Yeah.
entering this
That's what
in
I think too.
yeah, and entering this into like a competition as original art, that I would have a problem with. Like if you actually had a competition that was separate for AI art, sure. But entering it in just like a regular like art competition or something like that, like I've seen examples where people have done that and it just gets in this whole heated argument in the comment section about it. Um, it's in a different category. That's all it is, and it's just become that much easier for anyone to do that, which is great. Like rising tide lifts all ships, right? That's the saying. And
Yeah.
this kind of tech is only gonna accelerate at the rate of which people are able to become artists or express themselves artistically, which can only benefit all of like we only stand to benefit from it. I'm having a hard time seeing the issue with this.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like it should drive aesthetics. Like our whole era right now, I feel like should be driving aesthetics and quality, just like quality in everything. Because now, like, you can feel it, like the change is here. I mean, you can just feel it because things are getting really sophisticated. It's feeling really sophisticated, so it almost feels built. It's almost built, and so then it's going to be applied. And then when it's applied, that's gonna be a whole other new thing. But it's gonna be applied in so many continuously new, like in different use cases. And yeah, it'll be a very beneficial thing. It will make things efficient and it will free humans to do interesting things. So there's a great opportunity for people to like garden and make art, and like have families or something like that. Like maybe there's actually time. So, and maybe there are actually resources because there's abundance. That is one possible outcome, where like life actually just gets easier and more abundant. And, so with all that being said about art, I see it, yeah, I see it as a medium, just like, and in terms of the relationship between art and tech as well, it's like, truly, it's almost like a chicken and egg story. I think really actually the art came first. The desire to make art came first, or to write, or to do these things, communicate, leave a trace, like leave a marking. And so really, you know, the desire to create and express really drove the use for like paint or like smudging things on the wall or figuring out what could actually leave a mark. And it's amazing because they still last, like they still endure, right? It's like, um, so really when you get to paint and all of that, even in the, actually it was always the the desire for the paint colors drove this technological innovation. Um, manufacturing the paint, like producing the paint, and like figuring out how to make it with the pigments and all of this stuff. So really, like in a way, they go they go like this, but maybe like art started it. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, I feel like right now it's like with all of it, yeah, it's a new medium. You can still make art in any fashion you like. It could be material or immaterial as far as I'm concerned. I really like conceptual art too. So, I'm like, I'm gonna have like this broad definition, but then I mean, it's because it just is, it just is what it is. If you call it art, or if you see art in it, then it's art, you know? If you recognize art, then it's art. But
yeah,
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 in
yeah.
terms of what is like maybe what you might consider you know, epic works of art or whatnot, like, then maybe it's about there are principles at play. There's like, when I don't know, yeah, of course, right? It's like whatever the artist decides to create, like their expression, the decisions they made are what you really are responding to and you like. So, yeah, it could be any medium, and I don't even think, I mean, you could I don't even think it has to be segmented out. Like if it's if it meets the threshold of like there's just nothing stopping a piece of AI art from entering any museum. It just has to be the right piece of art. Right? Basically that's what. So it's like it just depends on where you want your art to land and like or not actually that either, just like you might think about it like that, but you also might think about it just like I don't know. Ultimately, you're getting to your authentic style and like your life experience channeled through your work. So, yeah, but you can't help but think about it all, right? And like how it all works together. So, um, yeah, so in other words, it's like if the piece of art is worthy of being in the museum, then there's no, in my opinion, need to separate that out. It's just gonna be like the piece of art has that gravity or like that
Quality?
level. I don't know how
Yeah.
that punch or whatever, where that would be where it would fall. So yeah, so I think that too. And you know what? It's like I do think it's really cool that a lot of people have like so many people have access, right? So it should drive a lot of refinement too, I think. I do kind of feel like Google search like it feels very disappoint or like I don't really like it right now because when you search a lot of times it does come up with a lot of AI imagery right off the bat
Mm-hmm.
and there's
Mm-hmm.
no really way to parse that out. So I'm not crazy into that because yeah, the aesthetic is like not always what I really want. Um, I'd rather have something real or like, you know, kind of thing. So, mm, yeah.
Yeah, that is certainly a concern. But when you said earlier to your point about freeing time, um, and this is something that has come up in conversation with other people that I've spoken to in the AI space and just stuff that I've seen on Twitter. Um, One thing that, like, because now we don't need as many quote unquote painters or like sculptors or any of like those actual mechanical motions of making art. Now we can do it digitally. One thing that it frees up a lot of people to do is to become curators. So now your ability to have a curated sense of style is what's going to be rewarded above all in the new space. So like anyone can type in text, right? Like anyone that's got two hands can type in text. Anybody that has access to internet can research different art movements or different movies or different styles, genres, so on and so forth. But it's a person that has the keen sense of style about a certain aesthetic that they feel some kind of, I don't know, connection to, or they just really enjoy displaying. Those are the people that are going to be able to get ahead, because like we've said earlier, anyone can make AI slop. Anybody can go and just Google images, get some basic you know ideas, and just put it into the next free AI and text to image engine, and it'll pump out whatever the hell they want. But somebody that's able to be like very meticulous with their wording, or they understand certain aspects of style, or designs of art, like that's how we get the Macbeth and eyes of the world. People that like have like a coherent sense of style. Somebody that's able to replicate all these like feelings and emotions over like a long period of time, still be able to capture that style but like evolve into it. um and I feel like that's like where we're at right now, is now that anyone can make AI art. It's like, okay, well, how good is your taste? How well do you know your uh 1930s early black and white German film, or what have you, right? Like whatever the aesthetic is. It leaves the room for more people to become curators and to be really really good at that.
Yeah. To really, really refine your style. I know, it's just like it's so good, I'm impressed. I want I really want
Yeah, like
really
even
want
this, like this is by far one of my favorite pieces that I've seen from him as of late. For anyone listening, it seems to be like just an office scene with a reclining leather chair, books strewn across a red carpeted room. And I like that the carpet, it's not uniform either. It's clearly shown signs of like wear and tear as you move through it. But it's just got this like 1970s, 80s feel. You're overlooking this giant sprawling city. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It really is. Yeah, it's like you're a lookout from above.
Yeah.
I wonder what city it's supposed to be. Just imaginary city. Future city.
Yeah, so curation. I guess that's where we're headed. Is your ability to have that sense of style and aesthetic and be able to replicate it with your tools.
Yeah, it's really interesting. A lot of potential. I mean, the video is getting so good as well. A little bit strange feeling.
Oh yeah, like all the Sora stuff that's been coming out lately from OpenAI.
Yeah, right?
Let's see if I can find some examples here.
Is this one?
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like this is one. It's a video of a cat on a bed, a woman that's sleeping and waking up, and it looks hyper realistic, except her expressions.
Yeah, it's a little scary. But it's so real.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or this
now
one.
that just feels like almost like as a cinematographer, you might want to do that sometimes and make something feel a little bit like comic book, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's very close to whatever it's called, the uncanny valley, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, and the weird thing about the Uncanny Valley, which makes it even more spooky, is that if you think about it, for those who don't know, the Uncanny Valley. Let me just make sure I have the correct definition here. I don't want to butcher this. Um, it's an effect or a concept in robotics and computer graphics that describes the feeling of eeriness, discomfort, or revulsion that people experience when they encounter a humanoid robot or a
yeah.
computer generated character that is almost but not quite indistinguishable from a human. So
Mhm.
it looks kind of strange and it looks humanoid, but you know that it's not entirely real. Like this image here of what I assume is a sex doll. I don't know. It kind of looks like one. um, or like any of those like Ripley's Believe It or Not, like all those wax museums, Madame
Oh
Tussauds, and all those. Yeah. Um, but the creepy thing about these is not just the way that they look; it's the fact that um, if you think about human responses to their environment being a result of the evolutionary tree, that means that at one point it had to be an evolutional advantage to be able to determine whether or not something is actually human, even though it looked human-esque.
Ooh.
So what the hell was roaming around that looked like a human but wasn't quite human?
Whoa. Do you think, or do we just like, or is it just evolving now? Like we just would think that innately. Is this the first time we've been exposed?
No, no, it's just like if this instinct exists, it's like how do you I mean we've had this as this like thing
Yeah.
for a while. It's just in the 1970s they just found the words for it. So this instinct is
Mm,
like deeply ingrained in us. It's just it took this long for someone to vocalize it. It
oh,
was just
true.
never like a real concept that people talked about. You know, like sometimes
Okay,
like
yeah. 'Cause, like,
you, yeah, you see like a
go ahead.
movie or like claymation where it looks kind of like human and you're like, "Oh, that looks kind of weird."
Yeah, totally. And also like, I mean, there have been dolls forever, right? So it's like probably also that I was never really into.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, potentially.
Mhm.
But yeah, so here's some more examples of Sora AI. Here's a dog outside of a window.
It's impressive.
Doesn't look half bad.
It's impressive.
A little gnome in a Japanese garden, I guess. Looks like a snow globe kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, the proportions aren't exactly right with this one, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it feels very video game, but also hyper real, so that's why it's like a little bit, it feels gamey, a little bit maybe.
Oh yeah, this is one of the more famous ones that was making the rounds. A lady walking through like either South Korea or Japan. It looks like.
Wow.
Yeah, you can see like little rough silhouettes around her her head here, just a little bit.
Yeah.
But still, that's pretty good. That's pretty damn good.
It is. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what people come up with, especially like directors. Like, eventually, they're foreseeing that this is something that's going to be like you're going to be able to go to like, take a trip on a plane, sit down at your seat, and just have the little tablet that's always in front of the seat there. Type in whatever
Mhm.
movie you want to see, and within reason, it'll play it for you.
Hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
movies
it'll
on
become
demand.
like a dream state, you know? But it's like, how will you know how to prompt it? But yeah, I guess it's kind of like sort of being like, oh, make me this story. That is so interesting. Make me this story. Hmm. I don't really watch very much stuff, so it's like it's interesting to think about that it's like, but I do listen to podcasts and I do listen to a lot of like stuff. I listen to more stuff than watch. But it's interesting to think about.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
I see,
exciting times.
yeah, maybe listen online. Yeah.
Exciting times. I mean, some of the artists that we follow. Let me see if I can't find them. Quite a few of them are in the AI space. Oh, Shlom's being one of the more infamous ones.
Yeah.
He went viral for. Let me see if I can find that Tesla, the truck that he did, because right around the time when the Tesla truck was coming out, he put out this AI image of these two Tesla trucks colliding. I'm gonna see if I can find it because it looked pretty damn real, and a lot of people were like kind of up in arms about it at the time because they were
Hmm.
like, "How the hell did they? First of all, how the hell did two cyber trucks collide? Like these things are rare." Not sure how he's even able to land that, but damn,
Hmm.
might not be able to find it here. Oh no, it's probably way further down. That's all right. But yeah,
Hmm.
Shlomo is definitely somebody that they definitely recommend following. He's very interesting with what he does in his productions in the art world. Um, like he did one piece where he what's it called? He spoofed an email from the official Gmail team saying that it was they were sunsetting all of Gmail,
Oh, yeah.
and the
Oh, yeah.
headlines made it around the world to the point where like people were like actually afraid that like the email service is gonna get shut down. I don't know if Elon Musk actually if he actually retweeted it or what, but it was perfect. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, Google is sunsetting Gmail. Yeah, so he did this piece, and then I think this was also around the time of the eclipse. So he
Okay,
did
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, he did something like also with the eclipse. He somehow incorporated that into the piece as well, and then he eventually auctioned this off as an NFT that was actually hosted on Google servers.
That's a cool one. Do you know how much it sold for? I'm
Oh,
curious.
maybe we could find out. How much was the?
Very interesting.
What do you make of NFT art, by the way?
Did he hack into the Google server? Okay, we can talk about that.
No, he
How
he
did
didn't
he?
he didn't hack into them. He just like you can upload something to like Google Drive, right? Like you can just upload just about everything. So that was
Uh-huh.
like one of the things that he uploaded, like was the actual initial file, the NFT, and he like password protected it obviously so nobody else could access it besides the buyer. But once you bought it, that's what you had access to. So it's like it's not like a fuck you, but it's just kind of like finger pointing at them. It's like, oh, I got you guys, and it's on your servers, so and I'm making money off of it. So yeah.
Yeah. But wait, when he sent the initial email, how did he do that? How did
He
he
didn't
end
he
up
never sent the
doing it?
email. It was
Oh, he
never
just it
he
was
d-
just drafted up like that and he posted on Twitter.
yes, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, he never sent
Oh.
an email. No actual email was sent. He just posted a screen cap. Because I think the day before there was another service. I don't know. I don't think it was Gmail or Google related, but they were sunsetting their service too. So people are
Oh
like, "Oh
no.
my god, no way!" Like Gmail as well. What the hell? And a lot of people fell for it. Yeah,
What would we do? Yeah, no kidding. Interesting. I know.
sold
Well,
for 30,000.
nice. What? That's sick. It's a good art piece. I mean,
It's a
it's
performance piece.
interesting. Yeah, it's a performance piece. It's a lot of things, right? It's a joke. At the same time, that's not a joke at all. Oh man.
Yeah, he also did a piece where he blew up a Lamborghini and then he sold the parts to it.
That's cool. Okay, what did he blow it up with? That's so interesting.
I don't know, but
How did
he used to have a store. I don't think I'll be able to find it now because anytime I click on the link, it just makes me auto post this. Although I might be able to. No, yeah, he's a troll at heart. That's that's what Shloms does.
That's
But no,
pretty
I asked earlier about NFTs.
interesting.
What do you make of that kind of stuff blowing up into the art world?
Yeah, I think the same thing. I mean, I think it just depends on the piece of art. I think encryption's really interesting overall, and that will become more interesting over time. I think that gives a way for people making video art or other types of digital media to do something like a way that makes it as an individual piece that can be collected or defined. Yeah, like transfer ownership like that. And yeah, same thing. I see people selling it. Pretty cool. I've never purchased any, but I see it around. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I talked to somebody who works in the crypto space, and basically from what they told me with NFTs, like some of it is certainly like scammy, as a lot of stuff is in the crypto world. Um, but with NFTs, the like you have that aspect to it when it relates to art, like actual like art pieces themselves, in the sense that you actually own the one of one, and you can prove that you own the one of one because the address of your purchase is on the blockchain and anyone can see it. So there's no like issue with ownership or who owns the rights to this and so on and so forth. Um, but that it can extend beyond art. So if you imagine it as something that just allows you to have an exchange of value with something that is defined in terms of its address or where it's located, it's really useful when it comes to stuff like the deed of your house. Um, like I've heard that there's been instances where people are getting scammed on it because they just like they don't have the paperwork, or they don't have like the proof it was lost in like a fire when they were moving or what have you. But having an NFT digital version of that would completely remove that risk, because now as long as you have access to it, like it's perfect. It exists on the blockchain. Um,
Mm.
Another way of like utility for NFTs I heard is there's a 3-on-3 basketball league that's actually headed by Ice T. I think it's called the Big Three, or Ice Cube rather. My mistake. Um,
I see.
it's called the Big Three, and they actually allow for people to buy in ownership into the team by purchasing
Mhm.
their NFTs. So when you buy one, you're actually like you're participating in the ownership of the team, and the more popular they get, the better they do in the league, the more that NFT becomes worth. So there's like
Mm.
an actual like connection between the buyer. So basically, like
Yeah.
NFTs as a use, like even though it became kind of like a meme, especially during COVID, with how many people were like, Justin Bieber was famous for buying one, so was Snoop Dogg, and all these celebrities that are getting in on it. But
Hmm.
it's just a store of value, except you have the additional security that it's on the blockchain. That's my
Hmm.
understanding of it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Huh. And also, it's just like issuing shares. Or
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. You
really
could like realistically, like you could like say like you own a portion of a painting or what have you. Because right now that in the art world, you can. I'm pretty sure there is a way to buy like pieces of art, not like entire pieces, but like actually just like a chunk of like a stake in ownership, right? I think that should be a thing, right?
Oh yeah, you can. You can buy shares. You could divide shares, you know. Let's say you had a piece of art and you had poor children or something like that. You could like give them shares of the art. I don't know, I'm just making that up, but like you definitely could. And you know, you hear about people buying like shares of Jackson Pollocks and things like that.
Yeah, it looks like yeah. There's an entire industry here. Um, at least this fund, it says that they've funded $400 million worth of these purchases, um, which is crazy to think about because the value of art, it's not like it seems like it's kind of like wine in the sense that like the longer you hold on to it, or like oh so the stereotype goes, the longer you hold on to it, the older it is. The belief is that the artwork should be valued more. But
And
because
you're
it's also
right
tied
too. Yeah.
because it's also tied to like the artist's reputation, um, the value can still fluctuate. Like it's not always gonna stay golden. So it's weird that like that so many people would invest in just like pieces of art. I don't know. I just find that odd. Like so you own like an inch square of the canvas essentially.
Such an interesting question. It's like, yeah, what part do you own? You own equal parts of the entire thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of like owning a beach house with your friends
Except you
or
own like
something
one of the
like that.
chairs and or like part of the deck or what have you.
Well, I mean, you could think of it sliced like that, or you could be like, okay, well, we just like, we went in 50-50. We get this house, we get the decor, we get the this, that. Set up your beach house, and like, it's just literally like, I don't know, I just made that up too. But you could do it like that, perhaps. I think that's more of what it's like when it's the art, maybe, is like, it's kind of like if you truly had like, it's shared. The whole thing is shared. But you could slice it off. That's another way to do it too, you know? Some artists will probably do that someday. They take their painting and they give you a square inch.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I actually just had a thought. I was like, man, like in the future, you'd probably be able to like art faking art is going to be so much easier in like the next couple of years because like 3D
Right.
printing tech is already like really good. Now wait till we get like automatons, like actual like robots that can like sit down and hold like a paintbrush and are coordinated with it. So all you have to do is just I don't know, deep tissue scan a painting, you know, ultrasound it or what have you. Get like every single layer of paint and pigment and color and do a like a chemical analysis or like just get all the prerequisite info you need and then just have the robot or automaton or what have you, 3D printer just pump out a piece and there you go. You got a classic Monet hanging in your bathroom.
Yeah, you could just do that. That's fascinating.
You probably could. I mean, I don't see why not. Like there's people can just like buy a 3D printer nowadays. They can make guns with them.
Yeah,
I don't
right?
see why you can't make art.
Oh, heck yeah. Of course. Yeah, I've done some 3D printed art in the past, a little bit.
Yeah, what was that
Uh,
like?
it was cool. I honestly I didn't know the software, so I had my friend make me a rose, and then I didn't know how to do the 3D printing, so I had my other friend 3D print it for me. So I just came up with the idea that I printed a rose. And but like you could do so much like if you had time to. So there you go too, like with all of our free time, all of our spare time and abundance, like what kind of art will we get to making? You know, it's like I was going somewhere um, with that piece. And like just so many ideas, right? It's like endless. I had some friends too that have made like these impossible shapes, you know, it's like you could never construct it just by 3D printing it.
Like
Everything's kind
optical
of raw.
illusion type stuff, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, and you can like expand it, and it's just printed nesting like that. Very interesting. Um,
Yeah, and
all
there's
kinds of stuff.
tons of sites like these that offer like scans and like everything from like board game characters to little cute dragons.
Well,
And it's
yeah,
free.
so yeah, and it's 3D printed.
Yeah, this is 3D printed, yeah. Yeah, this piece right here is 3D printed.
So then, yeah, just once again, it's gonna come down to aesthetics. Like if you had really cool aesthetics, you could do so many cool things. You know, you could like make so much cool art.
Yeah, or if there's uh like you really understand how like color palettes work, what blends to use, which ones to avoid, styles and all that, like you would really excel in that kind of thing. So everyone's got to become a Rick Rubin essentially. We all have to become more like Rick Rubin.
Hey, that's not a bad thing at all. You know, that's cool. Okay, the creative act. Just mention. Well, the creative act. Um, yeah, be in the state of receiving. Actually, that would be good for the whole world. You know, that would rebalance all of everything if we actually do that. That's like part of the feminine quality that we can all embrace. It's actually receiving. Like, so like I always talk about how he says that an idea will happen when it's ready. Like it will come into this dimensional plane when it's right. And so if multiple artists are having similar idea, then um you know, somebody will do it, or multiple people might do it too. You know, or if you have an idea and you don't do it, don't be surprised when someone else does. You know, because it's like the idea's ready. So yeah, it's like if you think about that, and really there's a lot of work around like even in like neuroscience and psychology and everything, just about the importance of the environment that you're in. And like, so you know, the more art the merrier. I think that's a great like leveling up thing too, to just have more art around that really vibes with you in your digital experience and like in your home. Yeah, so that is very interesting about the 3D printing. There's so many materials you can print with too, right? Like,
Oh yeah, like even if I look up like what are all the 3D printing materials available to the general public, I'm pretty sure metal is definitely it's got to be up there. You could do also like resin prints for a little bit more like intricate pieces with a lot more detail. Um, Let me see here. Oh yeah, there's apparently wood-like particles that you can even use. Yeah, metal filaments, carbon, resin. Yeah, there's a ton of these. I remember when I used to work as when I used to paint houses this one summer in college. I had to get the inside of this one kid's room in this house. I walk into the room and I see a 3D printer by his desk and I'm like, "Whoa, okay, so this is like 5, 6, no, not even. This is like 7 years ago. So back when like 3D printing was like a very, very niche, like select hobby. Um, that I walked in and I see that 3D printer and I'm like, oh shit, like this is becoming like commercial now. Like people are just doing this in their rooms. Like you don't need to put it out in the garage because the smell or what have you. Like no, you could just have it in your kid's room. And, like this little enclosed box. They make it all friendly. It all comes like pre-assembled. You just have to like plug in all the cables and turn it on, feed the spool or whatever material. They're really easy to set up these days and very cheap. Like you could probably get one for like 200, 300, something like that, maybe even a little bit higher.
fascinating, really. Wow. Okay. That's so cool. Yeah, it would be so cool to 3D print metal.
I've
It's
wanted to
like,
get one for the longest time because I find that like I need certain things for the house to like I don't know like a chair is wobbly or what have you, and I don't have like a thing or like a shop to like make something. So 3D printer would be perfect for that. Like, oh, if I need like an extra hook for my jacket or what have you, like I could just 3D print it, nail it or glue it or whatever the hell, and then I'm done. Like it would be really cool for that. But it looks like the cheapest one is $169.
very accessible. What?
Yeah, and look, I
Hmm.
this one is very simple. It, it all it does is just it feeds like a spool of wire, but that's a good place to start as any.
Yeah,
Something like that.
cool. Wow. What are they making there? Hmm.
A little oh, it's from an anime, My Neighbor Totoro. It's here. My niece really likes this one. Yeah, this little guy right here. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, what? Okay, so what about yeah, what other kind of things can we find out there that are 3D printers? Interesting.
Do you mean like what, like other materials or?
Just like other printers out there, like what's like the max you can do? Like what's like a really sophisticated one look like? That'd be interesting.
Let's find out.
Cool.
It looks like something called the Ultimaker S5. Now the thing that I learned with 3D printers is there's not like really like one or two companies that like are really like dominating the market and whatnot. It's just that because of how many players there are, it's very difficult to like find like reputable brands from my understanding. But apparently this is the best one. Let's just watch their video
Ultimaker
here.
S5. Wow, this is like a sweet way to watch this video.
Yeah, the encasing is really, really well done.
Oh. Also, I like it in our Santa land.
Yes. They're all our decorations. Oh, okay, so it moves down as it prints. Interesting. That's pretty good.
That's interesting.
And how much does it cost?
So like, is it? But so for your the home ones, is it only plastic?
No, you can get like a metal 3D printer. Let me just see what the cost is for this one, and I'll look that up.
Yeah, interesting.
So 7,000 roughly. 7,000
Okay,
USD. It can go as high as 20,000. So can be very pricey.
can be very pricey. 100 to 20,000.
And let's see about some metal 3D printers.
Yeah. Okay, so should we be saying this for people that are listening? Show me 3D printer that works with metal materials.
Oh well, for people that are listening, we're just gonna talk through it. Yeah, so there are 3D printers.
In today's
Like this one here.
Wow.
I think he goes over through multiple of these printers.
Hmm.
Interesting. And the machines themselves are pretty big. Obviously, for metal printing, you would need to have that. But yeah, there it is. Yeah, there's a metal machine gear that they made.
Wow. Hmm. Wow. Yeah, instead of casting things, you can print them.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
But I think there still would be a need for artisans, when it comes to like very specialized pieces that you would need. Um, let me just show you an example. So this is Guy Martin. He's a famous motorcyclist from Australia, I believe. Has a real fascination with like building things with his hands, and he did this series when he went to Japan and he visited all these different masters that that did all sorts of things. So, for one person, he went to somebody that did tattoos for the Yakuza. Another episode he did where he learned how to make a sword from like actually like getting the materials and like banging it out and going through that whole process. Like he went to like all the masters that did it. And so this episode, he went to somebody who worked with like a milling machine, and their machine has to be so precise that it's fractions of a fraction of a hair in terms of their like how precise the measurements get, because these pieces are used on like the infrastructure, so like the plumbing of the city, that have to be very 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 precise to fit all the machines. And so this is all done by hand by a master in his, I mean, if you look at it, if you just look at the workshop where he's at, it's like it's just some street, as you can see here. It just looks like some random street. It's not like a big corporation. He's not like out somewhere in a major facility. Like, no, he just has this in his house.
What?
This little sign here. That's cute. It's adorable. Like, look at that. You wouldn't know it by looking at it.
Wow.
But yeah, this gentleman here is one of the last few people alive that is able to work on stuff like this. Like he works on like pieces that go into nuclear power plants.
Wow.
So it has to be very, very, very precise. Otherwise, you could risk complete meltdown. The pieces themselves have to be like completely sturdy through and through. There can't be a single like nothing, no imperfection whatsoever. And he does this whole thing
Yeah.
manually.
Wow. That's interesting. Yeah, like you just need to be so sure that it's so perfect.
Otherwise, millions of people die. Yeah. So yeah, there's always gonna be, there's
There
always,
always be
yeah,
nice.
there's always gonna be always gonna be a room for people like that to really step up and show that, because that's incredible to get a fraction of a hair. That's
That's
insane.
like how I like that kind of precision. It's impressive. Wow. How'd you know about that guy?
Oh, I go on YouTube rabbit holes every now and then I'll find some interesting stuff. And yeah, I happen upon his channel. He's a really cool guy. You could just he kind of like has like a Joe Rogan energy to him, in the sense that like he really loves to learn and to meet people that are experts and just is very enamored by them, especially like being a professional motorcycle rider, or ex anyways. He's stopped doing it since. He has like a really big passion for like engineering and working with his hands and whatnot. So after he had a couple of like bad crashes on his bike there, he decided to, do something else with his life and highlight all these masters in their fields. He made some really good content. Yeah, his name is let me just make sure I give him this proper due. No, not Guy Gardner. Let me see if I can find him again. Guy Martin. Yes, Guy Martin. Great channel. I think he's still, yeah, he should still be putting out videos. He'll like do like random ones, kind of like, do you know Mike Rowe?
No.
Mike Rowe had this series on Discovery Channel called Dirty Jobs, where he went around to all these different jobs that people don't really have like any exposure to. So like sewage workers or garbage men, or anybody that like helps run the infrastructure of the cities that we all live in. He did a whole series on that. So Guy Gardner kind of does it in the same way. He shows up to the site, talks to the experts, tries to better understand like what the process is, why it's so important, and just kind of highlights that those parts of society we don't really think about.
It's interesting. Yeah, important work. Wow.
Yeah, there's always going to be room for a craftsman for that human touch.
That's right. Yeah. Cannot forget about craft. Yeah. Absolutely. That human touch could be all you need. Craft. Cool.
But yeah, Yeah, no, 3D printing is hella cool though. It's getting cheaper and cheaper and more accessible every single year. It's only improving.
Amazing. I know. What will they? I wonder, like, when can we print fabric, you know? I wonder if that will be a thing.
Um, let's see if AI will tell us if you can actually 3D print fabric. You should be able to. I don't see why not. Um, yeah, like fabric, like materials. Because you can buy like very, very, very flexible plastic that's very light, so you can make stuff like this. Which is
Wow.
for anyone listening, it's like a pink sheet, got very, very, very small holes in between connecting it. Very, very flexible. It looks like. Which like the only shitty thing, like obviously because this has to be 3D printed, it's gonna be plastic, so synthetic clothing.
Mm.
I don't know about. I don't think. I mean, 3D printing cotton. That's just like a. Isn't that just called like the cotton ginny or something?
I don't know.
That's just weaving. I don't think it's called 3D printing. I think it's just called weaving.
It's absolutely called weaving.
Yeah, pretty sure it's just called weaving. I don't think they call it 3D printing. But
No,
yeah,
but I was like, I guess I'm just thinking, could you 3D print a garment? Oh, that is cool.
well, yeah. Here's an example of a lady that 3D printed a
Oh,
hat. She kind of sped it up,
I
but
wonder, like, can you 3D print or somehow can get your robot to make you a cotton garment? That's very interesting.
yeah, you
I
could
did
probably.
look up one time like a t-shirt making robot, like factory. I think
And
it was also
what did you find?
Japanese. I found something, I think it was Japanese also. Um, could be interesting.
There should be an automatic cotton weaver.
They must.
There has to, of course, yeah. The entire industries are built off that. Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
No,
just like a giant loom. Like,
yeah, I was just wondering if they had like some that are like portable, that are like at home.
yeah, that's what, maybe ask that. That's cool.
Because that would be a hell of a homesteading pipeline.
Yeah,
Shear your sheep and then put it into into the machine.
please. That's part of my dream. Sheep, I have sheep dreams. I like dreams of sheep. Sheep farm dreams. Wool, wool, wool apparel dreams. Would be so cool.
Yeah, table looms and whatnot. Yeah, so it's going back to all this trad stuff. That makes sense.
Pretty. Oh, I just like it because I love wool clothing. And it is, I mean, you can call it trad or whatever, but I just only wear materials personally that are non-synthetic. I should say like this. Process things like Tencel and Modal. I don't really buy them that much, but I have. They're made of like tree pulp and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, bamboo, but I think actually wool has the highest, like the best resonant frequency with the human body. I'm usually in wool. That's not why. I just wear wool, and it just happens to make sense.
It's
It's
something
so good
different
for me.
when you put on like something that's made out of wool. You just I don't know. It gives you a different feeling compared to everything else. Which like okay, that sounds stupid, but
No, it's a
can't
vibe.
help the feeling. It's just a different I don't know different vibe to it. The way that it feels against your skin.
It has its own frequency, right? And it so yeah, like what you're saying makes sense because it's like it definitely is like it's a thing. So it's like yeah. And I just have this dream of like, yeah, buying strip malls that are just forgotten and then making them into pasture. You just put some sheep out there. That'd be so cute. You can put all over the country if
Do you
you wanted
think
to.
you would ever do a something out of wool for outsider supply?
Sure. The future is filled with possibility. That would be cool. I would love. Actually, there is an artist and I that have talked about making a particular type of woven product for Outsider Supply, or like as a collab.
Would we be able to share that artist today or no?
Maybe we should wait till it actually comes true.
Sure. Yeah. No, I'd figured I'd throw it out there. But yeah,
Yeah,
that would be cool if we could make some like a wool drop.
a wool drop. That would be so. I would be living my dream if I were making wool. Like, yeah, I actually today was like, oh, I really want to make a shirt that looks like such and such, you know? I have some material. And yeah, I've never tried stitching together any sweaters like that, but I did have that very thought today because I was thinking about, well, I was thinking about wool, and I was thinking about types of wool, and I was thinking about qualities of wool. All that stuff I really was as I was going about my day. Because I was like looking for something to wear and I like had an idea, I was like, oh, I'm not gonna find it because it doesn't exist. I might need to make that, you know? That could be cool if AI fashion became really, really cool like that. Like, if I did have an Optimus, I would just be like, can you sew this for me? Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I would definitely, yeah, just have it like just making stuff constantly for me and then just charging whenever it needed something, but otherwise, yeah, just like constantly just putting out stuff. Um but speaking of materials, just as a pure personal curiosity of mine, regarding all the stuff that we have up on the store there for Outsider Supply, how did you guys go about picking the materials for it? Because I'd imagine that it's a little bit overwhelming when something like this is started. You just have like an endless stream of swatches and colors and textiles and samples and whatnot. What was the process for you guys like when you initially started launching? Because my assumption is, um, once you've gotten down like to what you guys thought would be like make for the best garment, then that just became applied to all the designs. I would assume, like just moving forward.
Absolutely. And it's been it's an evolving process, as well as we figure out different qualities that we want to bring forth. So, um, yeah, what we really focus on is having a well-made garment, fabrics that are gonna last, and printing techniques or embroidery that's well crafted so that you're getting a garment that does feel like a piece of art. We want it to be substantial and just right. So that's our goal with the way that we select our materials and fits and all of that. Um, yeah, but it is like an evolution, and there will definitely be, like you said, like when's the wool drop, right? Like there will be the next things too. How would I pick the wool drop, I mean, I have dreams of truly deeply selective and transparent. Like these are the farmers, that are working on these clothes. Like, you know, who is that? Sometimes it's hard to figure that out like within your supply chain. Um, but actually like coming up, I think there's an opportunity to actually switch to something like to evolve into into that. So we would be like fully organic, and then you would also be able to know like even who was a part of this. Supply chain is so interesting because so many people put their hands on a product before it reaches the world. It's really amazing.
Well, so when you guys started Outsider Supply, like just logistically, did you just like reach out to like local manufacturers in regards to these materials, or did you like seek abroad? Like what does that typically look like? Because I would imagine there's so many choices to choose from when it comes to stuff like this that it could be really overwhelming.
Yeah, so we chose things. Well, it was also when we started Outsider Supply, it was during COVID, like in the midst of it. So for us, domestic supply was very important, and things were slowed down for sure. And then also like sometimes you get other interruptions with supply chain, like the weather just might not be that good when you're right because you're growing a plant. So there's just like different things that can happen, right? Like world events, weather, preference, all that stuff. So so some of the base materials, like the actual cotton, might be grown right now in mostly in this part of the world, like this hemisphere.
You mean North
Um,
America?
yeah, North or even Central America, there's a lot of cotton down there too. And yeah, but also again, what we're I think going to be switching to is just more localized, being grown in the United States. That's just I just think that they're offering a very conscious product, like from their base material and like how they're farming. So, it's like you need to find your way of working with a partner and a vendor, and it's good when your ethos line up, and so everybody can specialize in what they're doing. Because, like, I know, like, the type of certifications that I really want, and kind of this whole posture. Um, And yeah, so somebody, it's like people are doing it, or you could always totally vertically integrate if you wanted to. Like we could have our own farm someday, but right now I think I'm more interested in working with partners who are truly specialized, they're dedicated, everything's very, everyone's walking in their expertise. So if I could, um,
Okay,
yeah. hmm
that makes sense.
Yeah, so it's not easy to figure out necessarily, but it's also not impossible. You just get started, and you go from there. hmm
Gotcha. Yeah, because I just at least from the things that I've noticed, it seems as though like Japanese cotton and denim is like the top of the top when it comes to vendors having like clothing. Like you have brands like Uniqlo that have popped up on the scene, at least here in Canada, that have like just kind of exploded. Now they have stores, not everywhere, but they have a really big presence, because the entire focus is just on like very simple, uh, not necessarily streetwear. I guess you could classify it as streetwear, but it's just casual fit. I mean, it's essentially like when I walk into a Uniqlo now, at least here in Canada, what it feels like is what it felt like to walk into a Gap. You know,
Yeah,
just very like
it's
plain, unique colored clothing that serves its purpose and fills the need that it needs to, and there's no like major branding on it, so it's very neutral. You can wear it anywhere.
like some just like cute basic
Yeah.
or staple pieces. Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I've been in a Uniqlo before. I'm trying to purchase something, but it's been a minute since I've been in one. They're an interesting store, and yeah, hmm cool cuts.
And in regards to the clothing industry, do you got any
Mm.
stories worth sharing of like just interesting dynamics that you've seen between different brands or styles or what have you? Just anything that you've seen over the years.
If I understand your question for some reason, I
Well, I
understand
mean,
what
just
you're
like
what kind of thing you're looking for. Yeah.
Just any insight into like how this in regards to like behind the scenes. I'm not asking for like TMZ drama level like stuff, but
Oh,
just to kind of better understand like how this how that industry works, because I would imagine it's fairly tough to break in as an independent business when you have so many fast fashion brands that are out there that like you really have to like have your elbows up the entire time to make room for yourself in order to grow, just because of how many more like accessible options there are out there, because we are a specialty store, you know, it's not stuff that you'd walk in and into your local department store and see.
yeah, totally. Okay, great question. Well, the beauty of the internet and platforms like Shopify or like WooCommerce or whatever people like to use, I like Shopify, is that it really does democratize commerce. So, in terms of getting started, we started out as an internet brand. Um, and so therefore our growth relied on our presence on the internet. And we have mostly in the past focused on Instagram. Um, and that actually brought us a lot of real world opportunities. Um, because that is the way that things were getting out. So it really was our Instagram ads that I just think I to me it's the only way that people were getting exposed. So I say it's our internet ads that led to us being invited to be at Nordstrom, and then that led to anthropology, and then along the way that brought up cultured and
Cultured Mag.
magazine. Yes, and Dada Goldberg and other wonderful experiences that we have been having along the way have been all from being connected mostly on Instagram in those cases, so far as I understand. And I think that's probably true. So, yeah, I in terms of breaking into the market, what's been great is that we were just focused going direct to consumer. And that still is our primary focus. Even though, yeah, we'll do more with other businesses as well. But for us, it's been direct to consumer. And so communicating directly with our audience and um, and everything else, like I said, the invitations into like more of these industry situations have been organic and very well appreciated and lovely. It's been very interesting. So I think that maybe it is like what the Rick Rubin thing says, it's like we're here to help Outsider Supply take up space and have this idea like have its own um thing that it occupies in the world. So, yeah,
Yeah, because
that's
what I'm
how.
getting is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially the impression that I'm getting is like it's just not something you ever like considered in terms of like, oh, like do I have to worry about like market share or all these different other players? It's like no, you just went into it thinking, all right, well, we're just gonna do our thing. I'm gonna make ourselves known, and because we have an inherent value that's based on our philosophy, we're gonna pick up steam, and it's only a matter of time.
Share. It's like in truth, there's the market. It's like there's a lot of share to go around. So it's like for a company like ours to do really well, um, it's like it doesn't even take all that much like all together. So you could think like Zara, they make an incredible amount of revenue. Um, and there are a lot of other big companies like that. So yeah, it's like for us, like we want to uh yeah, we want to let the value of the work speak for itself, and then that is what should the byproduct of that should be, um, yeah, like a healthy business, and like taking up whatever market share the company wants to. It would be fun to like I could see in the future there could be stores like that are really, really engaging and like a few flagship stores or something like three. That'd be like really fun, you know? Um, so I don't know, it's like you could have like New York, Tokyo, and somewhere else. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
But
What do you
yeah.
think would be among the most like difficult of pieces of clothing to like have put through like the entire supply chain in order to make into a product? Because I figure
General?
I figure shirts would be the easiest. Yeah.
Yeah. And like of what we're making or just overall?
Just overall, like, what do you think would be like the most
Mm.
challenging piece to make?
Is it going mass production or it's just being produced?
Well, you got to make it for the stores, so I would assume mass production.
Okay, mass production. I'm gonna say anything that's like got well, beading was what I was gonna say.
Beading?
You know,
Oh, like
I
little
think
beads?
yeah, I think beading would require attention there, especially if you had like I was just imagining a dress that was like all beads, like that's sort of what I was like, that seems like that would be kind of like a skill, like these variations of like dresses like covered with beads. I have no idea. It's just an idea in my head. I'm like, okay. Um, yeah, it's like, do things need to be like hand embroidered? Do things need to be like ruched or like ruffled in some type of way? Is there some type of lace? Like lace could be.
Do you mean beaded dresses like these?
I have no idea. Not really. I mean, I have a different design in my head, but sure, just like imagining your imagining a dress, whatever your metaphysical imagination is of a dress that's like made of beads,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like hand beaded. Yeah. I don't know if we'll find the style on the internet because I have that's the thing with online shopping too. It's like a rabbit hole. For real. It's like you get an idea in your head and it better be pretty abstract because it might be hard to find the specific thing. You could say specific qualities. Be like, oh, I want like high waisted something, something, something. You
Mm-hmm.
can find these qualities. Anyway, we go on. Yeah, I don't know. What do you think? I feel like that would be hard. Leather, like, grommets. I don't know. Anything like that. It seems hard.
Yeah, I mean anything that would require just a lot more like handcrafted initiative on the person, like probably like a shoe, a really high quality shoe. I feel like that would be very very difficult to do. And I'm not talking like these the plastic like sneaker molds, which is one thing that I've really started to dislike about just the way that like the choices of shoes that we have access to these days. Like everything has just become this like quick cheap synthetic thing, and it
Yeah.
costs an arm and a leg, when in reality it's just like they just pump the silicone into the mold and they move on to the next one. I don't know, maybe I just have the worst luck shoe shopping. I'm not even that big of a size. I'm like size 12, which is like it's not extreme. It's up there, but it's not that bad for men's. And even I have like problems like finding shoes in the right size that like that fit well or that are nice. It just seems like everything is, or at least a lot of the market is tied up in these like quick, make a buck turnaround kind of products.
Yeah, and they don't last long either. I mean, I hike and walk a ton, and it's just like I could get new sneakers every month. I usually wait like a couple months. Because it's like if you put on hundreds of miles, they're dead.
Oh yeah.
You know? So I'd rather have like some boots or like something like that that lasted. I would be down for that, but I just haven't found that yet, you know.
Yeah,
Um,
the one thing I have noticed though um in the little traveling that I have done, some countries naturally because of the climate they have to adjust their clothing as a result. So, for example, Australia, in a lot of their stores, they actually have cotton as like a staple. So you'll walk into even like non like brand name stores. I remember I walked into this like I guess like small department store. It had a little bit of everything, kind of like a streetwear style to it. And just about everything I checked was like 90%, 100% cotton, like everything. It was beautiful. I was like, oh my God, this is it. I've made it.
yeah,
These are my people. I love this. Because here
yeah,
in North America, in Canada at least, and I would imagine the States too, like you really have to check those tags, make sure that it's not like made out of synthetic materials if you're about that kind of thing. Um,
yeah.
but one thing that I really, really enjoyed in Australia was like a lot of the clothing that I did end up buying there was 100% or 90% or higher cotton, which is beautiful because you need it. Obviously, they're like they get 30 degrees, 40 degrees Celsius, which what is that in Fahrenheit in freedom units? Uh,
75, 90.
104.
Oh, we're 104.
Yeah. So it gets hot there. I remember I bought this like plastic penny board from this guy there because you know that's where actually they're from. They're originally made in Australia. They're these tiny plastic skateboards that they made. It was like in the shape of the original skateboard as it was designed. Um, Let me see if I can just find an image. Yeah, like one of these. That's a penny board.
Okay, cute. Yeah.
Yeah, I basically got one of those. And even though the plastic is probably like half an inch thick, it was so around 100 or so Fahrenheit that day. I could feel
Uh-huh.
the plastic like bend under my weight as I was riding. That's how hot it was. I couldn't walk on the sidewalk in my shoes without feeling the heat go through my shoes.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh
so
my
they have
gosh.
to have
Yeah.
cotton. They have to have cotton.
Yeah, linen,
Mhm.
cotton,
Mhm.
linen in that weather. Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I really avoid synthetics. I mean, they disrupt your endocrine system, so, you know.
It just doesn't feel as good either. It doesn't really doesn't feel nearly as nice as like just a cotton or a linen blend or just even just pure.
Mm-mm. Yeah, it's just, yep, it doesn't. And there's like a reason why, because it's doing something weird to your genes. That's why it doesn't feel good. It's
Maybe.
mutating your gene. It is. It's mutating your genes. There's research.
Oh well, no, I'm right there with you. Like the plastic clothing that a lot of people wear, it has what are known as BPA's, and they essentially they
Oh,
mess with the production of your hormones. That's why like it sounds kooky, but like it's actually true because realistically, your skin is among the most important of organs. We don't really think of it as one, but it is, and it absorbs everything it comes into contact with. All the air that we breathe, the car exhaust that we walk through every single day, uh, the clothing that we wear. You know, like microplastics are a thing. Same as having skin to skin contact. You absorb certain parts of it, especially if you're working out or you're in hot conditions, and then that also like clings to your skin. So, no, absolutely, I'm right there with you. It's not a conspiracy. It's true. It's absolutely true. You can't have an oil byproduct as your clothing and then not expect for you to absorb some of that into your body.
I know. It's like I really think that there's so much room to innovate on that too, and I'm sure it's happening, already happening with for such well for that people just I think need to be made aware, and then they'll just choose differently, and then the market can adjust. That's how it's also supposed to be too. So that's why it's like the marketplace of ideas, right? And when people actually have information, then they can choose things that they actually want. And we just didn't know for a long time. And then when you really think about it, it makes sense. And then again, it's like when you innately feel in your body, how does this feel? It feels a little uncomfortable, So it's like it just clearly like doesn't work. And so, of course, again, if we follow the science, we're always at the very last because it observes it after the fact. It is de facto empirical. It wants to prove it. So you have to like prove it after the fact, you know? Um, if you want to formalize it, but like also the science is definitely just that you recognize it, you know? So follow your inner science. You already know. That's really what we're trying to say here. Follow your inner science because you already know. And yeah, so I don't know about the other materials like modal and tensile, and there's some others. But those are the main two I think of. I think there's some others. Um and they are, yeah, they're made from like wood pulp, and like modal's like super soft.
Oh yeah, this one's
Um
made out of a beech tree pulp.
Beech
Modal,
tree
yeah.
pulp.
Interesting.
Then there's
That looks really
tensile.
soft.
It's very soft. It's like cotton, but like softer.
Interesting. Yeah, these are made for some good drapes.
Some good drapes, maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it were like really thick, I have no idea. You could probably use it for all kinds of stuff. I've had like pajamas. They're pretty comfortable, you know. It's like they're comfortable. But there's all kind of stuff out there, dresses, whatever. Um, yeah. Then there's Tencel. Can't remember what that one's made of. It's like TNCEL.
Like tinsel? Like this?
I think
Or
it's yeah. Um, Merry Christmas, anyways. By the way, yes. Tencel, TENCEL.
yeah, tinsel fabric. It's lyocell fiber, which is a semi-synthetic material made from wood pulp cellulose, and it's made by an Austrian company.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Also looks very
yes,
soft.
doesn't it's a bit of a different material. Yeah,
Interesting.
I know. So with that, you still want to know, like, I actually need to do like a how the what is it, like how it's made or like how it works, like that video series
Yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
how
like
it's made. That's also a great series for anyone that hasn't seen it. Highly recommend it. They should have some.
yeah,
They definitely have some episodes on YouTube. They have to.
yeah, like how that stuff's made. Cause like
Oh yeah.
that's where then of course you know it's again you want to get in there like I got into a big rabbit hole on synthetic seed oils. Is that even a thing?
You just mean like seed oils?
We just seed oils, but however they're extracted, they use a petroleum byproduct to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
distill it or something. So you can only imagine that how bad that is.
Yeah, that stuff is not good for you. No, no, it is not. But yeah, no,
Like,
sticking with the cotton stuff, I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but I actually growing up, my mom, she would always make sure the clothing had like the right ratio, like a minimum 60-40 blend of cotton, and that's like the bare minimum. We wouldn't go any lower than that typically. But yeah, just about like all the clothing I bought, like she never bought me like synthetic clothes, or at least like tried to avoid it as much as possible. So like even
yeah,
she knew something inherent, which yeah, very very strange. But I'm glad that she did that.
definitely. Moms know. Yeah, you know what? Um, it's interesting because like I went shopping today and I went into a couple different stores and like that's what it is. It's like you just have to like go and you try and avoid all of that and you can't wear anything. Stuff's cute, but you can't buy it because it's all like acrylic, you know?
Yeah, I do that with a grocery store now. If I walk through it, I have to avoid like 90% of the aisles or like most of the products. It sucks now because like before I used to be able to trick myself. Like if the packaging looked healthy enough or like if it had the right slogans or something, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's healthy. I'm sure it is." But then when you actually like look at the ingredients and what it's made of, you're like, "Oh man, I can't buy this." Like I've seen I went shopping like a couple months back trying to get some fits from the Hudson Bay, and they had some really nice pieces, but they were all synthetic. I was like, "No, you're kidding me."
It's
Unfortunate.
hard. It's hard out there. Yeah, sometimes you find like your staple brands that like for certain stuff, like I go through workout like outfits, like and that's also super hard to find like anything that's non-synthetic. So yeah. I like LA apparel for that stuff, personally. Um, for girls. But probably for guys too, they probably have like shorts and stuff. Um, it's not
Well,
organic unfortunately, but like it definitely. And then yeah.
well, there's a clothing brand that's actually made by Jocko Willink, who's appeared on the Joe Rogan podcast a number of times. They're called Origin. They make everything American made, the jeans, the boots, like as much as possible. If they have to outsource something, it's literally because like they can't do it in America or it does like cost way too much. But they'll make like leather boots, denim, just about everything, like shirts and all that. Try to make it from like the best quality cotton that they can. So there are brands out there, and there are like plenty of people occupying these spaces. So like it is really good to see that it's just, they're
Yeah,
just making it accessible for everyone as much as possible, and it's 100% American made.
cool. Yeah, and I mean I'm not like against I'm not like complete isolation, just like into like absolutely no trade or anything like that, but I feel like, and of course, I mean, we wouldn't even have spices if we lived like that,
Hmm.
and tea and like, all the things that came from that. A lot of interesting things. All
Yeah, but
the
it's also
interesting
good
things.
to invest in people that live within your country and all that, because
Yeah.
globalization has certainly affected that. I mean, the only reason we have fast fashion is because of globalization. And yeah, it's clothed a lot more people than we would have been able to without it. But on the
I
other
don't know.
hand, like what's the
Yeah.
clothing quality? What is the other problem is like the amount of stuff that gets thrown out. Like what happens to all those landfills that are just stuck with all that synthetic clothing? I mean, how many people like just they don't have a
Yeah.
use for something, they just put it in the garbage and then it winds up in a landfill, and then next thing you know, that it's high, it's as high as a mountain.
Oh, listen, they burn it.
Mhm. Mhm. They do.
That's like a thing in the fashion industry too. Like if they don't sell through things, they'll burn it.
Oh, like they'll actually like it's either they like send it to like they'll actually like incinerate it. They will pay to have it incinerated.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we try to be zero waste. That's also just like built into our ethos. Just like no waste. It's like just sort of the difference. But it's a totally different way of working. It's a totally different way of working than what they're doing. And I don't know if I buy the argument that like, oh, if we decrease the quality, then we could have like everyone could wear clothes. It's like, well, it's just at what it's really not like it's not like you get a good value because you might have a cute thing that messes up your genetic code. You know, you might have a cheap thing. You might have more options while they mess up your genetic code. So it's like, I'd rather have less. And I'd rather have like nice quality if it had to be dictated like that. But again, once it's like what you said, maybe when there's just like room for more artisans and automation becomes so interesting, like I don't know, there's room for like a lot of niche like progress, I think,
Yeah, I
for
mean, like
sure.
it's not as if like someone made the conscious decision thinking like, okay, well now we're just gonna make mountains of clothing. I think it just became like it just outgrew from the market naturally. There was a high demand for it to go cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So companies took advantage of that and they did what they had to make sure their bottom line uh, was something that rose year in year out, quarter in quarter out, and part of that, like you said, it drives that economic change, but at a cost. So now we're just kind of stuck with this era of fast fashion. And then you also had all those scandals in the early 2000s regarding the sweatshops, which never really like went away. They just kind of got cleaner, but they're still out there and they still exist. Like you'll hear a story every now and then of one of these places like just going up in flames because they didn't have, proper fire extinguishers or what have you. So there's plenty
Mm,
of places in the world that are still like making this stuff in that way and hasn't really gone away. But it's good to see
mm.
like brands like even like Jocko's there that they're trying to do something different. And people are recognizing that we need to have more of that stuff come in because just way too much has been outsourced over the years. We got to kind of reel it back in and make something new.
Yeah, that's very true. Reel it back in and make something new. And I mean, I love China. I've been to China. I've seen interesting manufacturing areas in China. I've seen like clothing supply chain in China. And my only issue with China right now is that the government and the
Yeah,
Uyghur
that whole
population
thing.
also especially, but also like all of the it's a little bit too authoritarian for me, and especially with the Uyghur Muslim thing. So, in my opinion, it's like, you have to make sure that your goods do not come from Shenzhen province where they're doing all of that. And I'm like, I just am gonna say for now, even though it's not all of the Chinese people, I have many Chinese friends and I love them. Um, you know but in general, in principle, if I'm not working directly with my friend or something, which I'm not right now, I'm like collaborate with a Chinese friend, that would be great, but right now I'm not. For my supply chain, it's like I'm trying not to do that, because like even I was actually using a supplier, and for a certain thing that I was like feeling hard to get made in the United States, sometimes there just aren't even the factory capabilities. It's like people don't even know. Like if you go over there, you're gonna. My mind was like, whoa. Like there were like trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks and trucks. It's like just totally industrial. Like I had not seen that before. And I've been in some industrial parts of this country, but like, and I'm sure there's more that I have not seen. But that was like notable. And yeah. So, but I had a situation where like the company that I was working with, I asked them about like, oh, just like a question about a different product, like, oh, could we source I'm sure I know it was organic cotton. And and the two options were like one was north of Beijing. I can't remember the name of the province, but it was like that would be like the region it was grown. And then another was it was in Shenzhen. And I was like, wow, that actually came up in my real life. This is so weird. And it's literally not even fair. It's like not the people's fault. It's like so that's a tricky one. Um and in truth as well, it's like um there's a lot of balance that can be restored. I like manufacturing domestically because yeah, like to me, when I go to France, like I want stuff that's French.
Hmm.
For like
Yeah, you don't want something that's like a cheap knockoff that was made in a mold somewhere or just automated or what have you. Like you'd prefer to have the real thing, especially when you're traveling as a visitor. You don't want like the stuff they sell to tourists. You want what the people there wear.
yeah, all this talk of artisanship as well, I think is very important and interesting. Because there could be kind of like a whole like yeah, people will decide what they want to do with their time. They might some people will do wood turnings, some people will play video games. I don't know. You know what I mean? It's like it's gonna go both ways. Um, but yeah, I like to keep things local, and I would like to get to where yeah, there's just like complete and utter full transparency. It's just like not as easy as you would think because there are just so many steps involved. It's like who, you know, but it's like I would love it to where it's like okay, we travel to the farms, like
Hmm.
do all that stuff. I love farms. It's very interesting. So, anyways, great question. It's not obvious. Um,
Yeah, but
Mhm.
no, it's good to see that more people are making an effort to kind of return that. Because at least here in Canada, we did have like the main like quote unquote brand or store that is like famous for having this kind of like made in Canada vibe to it, because the company did actually essentially make Canada. It's called the Hudson Bay, and historically they were um, among the first enterprises to invest in the creation of Canada. And let me see if I can find some vintage store photos. Uh, yeah, this is what. No, that's way too small. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, it was basically like a what we would call now, yeah, a department store. They did sell groceries and whatnot too, but they sold a lot of the clothing um, for much of the people in the cities. Let me see. There we go. Yeah, so it was this huge, huge store, very, very long aisles, and they would be making just about everything. But all like Canadian made. That was the reputation back then. They still kind of hold it to this day now, but it's been very difficult for them in terms of business. Unfortunately, they've had to shutter some stores down. Um, but yeah, they've always kind of had that. They've always had that kind of history to them as being like Canada first company, and there's a bit of like a national pride in that. It's sad to see it uh, diminish over the years, unfortunately. Yeah, like
That's
stuff
so
like
interesting.
this. You'd have like a catalog that came in the mail.
Mm. Mhm. It's nice. I like this lady on the left.
Yeah, and those colors are like that's
She's
their
so
trademark
cute.
essentially.
Yeah, really cute. That's so like, let's go walk in the snow. But you know, that's what's up. That's so cute. What's the next one? These colors, yeah, very cute. So cute.
Yeah, just
Mhm.
very traditional clothing. And they also, I think, they made the gear for Team Canada in the Olympics as well, actually.
Mm, it's cool.
But yeah, I've always just kind of felt like a little bit of pride for them because they helped build this nation and they make some pretty good clothing. Like I'm pretty sure I have some stuff of theirs laying around somewhere. It would be great to see a return of it because having more stuff made here, I don't know. It would just there's something about it that would make me more willing to spend the money there than I would elsewhere. You know.
There you go. Yeah, it's interesting. The you want to, and also they have a beautiful crest as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
and there's a big history associated with the brand too. Like I'd be hard pressed to find a brand that's starting out these days that's actually going to be able to make the rounds and last for centuries. I mean, what is the oldest fashion brand in the world right now? What do you think it
Gosh,
is?
I don't know. Hmm.
Brooks Brothers.
Really? The oldest brand is Brooks Brothers? I guess maybe if it's like done as a brand. There's no way. What about the
Really?
haberdashers of yore? Like,
Is
what
that what they're
about
called?
London in 1750? At least. I mean, no, there has to be long before that too. I don't know. It's like you gotta have like 1500s. Like they've got the cobbler, and then next door to that you got the printing press, and then next door to that you got the tailor. You know. But as far as a brand goes,
Yeah, it might just give me Brooks Brothers again. I'm trying to reword it a little bit. Uh, no, it is. Yeah, it looks like it's Brooks Brothers, founded in 1818. Um,
wow.
so
Hmm.
Hermes was in 1987, Louis Vuitton 1854. Lanvin, Chanel, Prada, Nina Ricci. Yeah, these are all like,
They have been around.
yeah.
Wait, when was Prada? I can't
Prada, it
really
says
see.
1913.
Wow, 1913. Ooh, very interesting. Definitely makes sense with that brand. It's like ahead of the times.
Brooks
Interesting.
Brothers.
But also a bit Art Deco. Really break it down.
Interesting. So they're known for their suits, I'm guessing, yeah?
Suits, button downs. It's a nice product.
Interesting.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, the right guy can just go there and that's like his nice go-to for his button down. But, there are many, yeah, it can be a nice go-to for sure.
Oh, well, yeah, and they've dressed numerous U.S. presidents like Abraham Lincoln, Roosevelt, Kennedy. Oh,
Yeah.
Abraham Lincoln was wearing a Brooks Brothers coat and suit when he was assassinated. Oh,
Oh my gosh. Whoa. Twist in the plot.
it was the Brooks Brothers all along.
This is the Brooks Brothers all
Interesting.
along.
But yeah, no, I'm just as surprised as you are. I would have thought that it would have been some kind of European brand. I mean, I'm sure like if we look far back enough, there's an older brand that we can find, but one that's still functioning in today's society that still has survived. That's pretty good. 206 years going on 7.
Mm. You know what? I forgot to share this on my tweet. But maybe I should share that. I forgot to even do that.
What? Oh, you mean the stream?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like,
Well, I was
maybe
I
I
was
should
thinking
do
of
that.
cutting around 10 if that's all right.
I think that sounds good. We'll post it after the fact. I'll
Yeah.
remember next time.
No worries. No worries. This is an impromptu stream anyways, so it's all
Yeah,
good.
this has been fun. Yeah, so okay, so anything that you have going on around the holidays, Christmas, like New Year's, anything you're thinking about? Fun, hanging out with friends,
Uh
family?
yeah, getting together with some family, I think on the excuse me, on the 24th. We don't typically celebrate Christmas, but we just, get together and have like a dinner, but it's on our main holiday because Russians we celebrate on the 31st. That's our like
Mm.
real Christmas Eve. Um,
Mm.
so probably just get together with family, bake a bunch of stuff. I still have like probably like half a kilo of gingerbread dough that I got to make, so I got to take that out of the fridge tomorrow, and
Right.
and probably bake it at some point. But yeah, besides that, I don't know. I just getting together with family. Most of my friends live far away, so we don't see each other during the holidays, but that's all right. What about yourself? You got any plans?
That's great. I just love this, like the thing that you have a half a kilo of is gingerbread dough.
It's more trouble than it's worth, honestly. I have half a mind to just like keep it and just like chunk away at it and like just eat it instead of actually baking it because man, it is I underestimated how hard it is to roll out gingerbread. And my God, it is a trial. It is difficult. Okay. I was sweating. All right. That thing was putting me to work. Gingerbread is no joke. It is actually no joke. This thing it's way harder than like regular dough, which I should have realized, but I'd never made anything with it before, but hey,
Yeah, I haven't either. So this is like, yeah, it's very interesting to hear about your process. Sounds good though. I love cookie dough too, so like why not, right? Like heck yeah.
yeah, it's easy to make. I like it. It's super easy. It's just a little bit of flour, some molasses, some sugar, salt, and a butter, and I think that's basically it. You just mix all that together, warm it up, make sure the dough is warm because the colder that it gets, it starts to solidify. Then you can't roll it, and it's a whole problem.
Mm.
But yeah, if you just like ask ChatGPT or whatever for a recipe, it'll definitely give you one. Fairly easy to make. Very easy to make.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Just like what are we using AI for? You're like, yo, can you like whip me up some gingerbread? I just
Oh yeah, yeah. If I need a recipe or
you know,
anything, I'm asking. Yeah, I'm asking AI first. Always.
Fascinating. It's such a change, right? Because again, it's like you're not Googling it anymore. It's very interesting.
No, because what I hate about Googling recipes is that it's always like it gives you this like whole. The first result is always like a long story. Oh, with back in the early '90s with my grandma and my kid. I don't care about that. That's nice. That's great that you have this memory. That's great that you put all this work into it. I'm happy for you. You could keep that elsewhere. All I need to know is how many eggs I need to put in this damn thing. Okay, that's all I need to know. Just tell me how many eggs. I need a number. That's it. I just need a number. I need a number, I need an amount, and I need to know what not to do so that I don't fuck it up. That's it. That's all I need.
That's so funny.
So AI is
Oh
perfect.
man,
It cuts right through that. It just tells me exactly what ingredients I need, how to use it, and what to watch out for. Yeah.
brilliant. I think it's great. Um, yeah, okay, well, yeah, family, gonna hang out with family. Um, and I'm like, maybe I should make some Christmas cookies too. But I mean, I do have some pretty good family recipes. One of them is kind of like Russian wedding cookies, but it's a little different. Yeah.
Russian wedding cookies?
Yeah, it's like the almond. Well, we like to make, we call them pecan crescents. They're good. They're simple. They're not too sweet. They're so good. Um, and then also my mom has a recipe that's for
Is it like
a dark
these?
chocolate walnut cookie. Yeah, except for like the consistency is just like a little bit lighter, and then it's shaped in a crescent, and then yeah,
Hmm.
it's really good. They're so good too. If you take them right out of the oven, you eat them hot like that. It's like they're so good. They're
Oh
good
yeah.
all the time. Okay, now I think I have to do Christmas cookies like tomorrow, because when else? Okay, and then yeah, and some dark walnut cookies. They're super good too. They're also like they're not very, it's like they're just like a great classic recipe. So if you ever want either of those, I could text them or send them to you if you want some more cookies to try out.
Sure, yeah,
Um,
I'll never say no.
I'll never say no. Cookies galore. Yeah, so yeah, that's the plan. And then yeah, inevitably I know I'll hang out with little Juliet like at some point over this span um of Christmas to New Year's, playing with
Yeah.
Twitter friends. Yeah,
Gotta
and
see the girl
actually
troll.
I think also maybe another mutual, Tristan, who goes by the handle Mossy Rainforest. I think he might come back over this neck of the woods and go hike and like do stuff like that. So maybe play with some Twitter friends over the break too, which is really fun. Yeah. So
Good
maybe
stuff.
we have to talk about Maya World. We could talk about Maya World all anytime, as well. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no for sure.
We're hedging into Maya World with our live stream right now.
Slowly but surely, yeah. Making our way in.
It's yeah, pretty much similar thing. Okay, yeah. So, anyways, sounds good. Well, listen, I wish you the merriest Christmas of all. I wish all your wishes come true and Santa just super good to you.
Yeah. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone celebrating. Hope you enjoy your hard-earned breaks. And yeah, not sure when we'll be streaming next. Might be some time after Christmas, but just make sure to pay attention to our X page, and that'll have all the information for you. And like we said at the beginning, um, all the links for any updates regarding anything that we do with Outsider Supply, it's in the X bio, or you can go to bio.link/outsidersupply, and it'll have everything up there. And with that, yeah, thanks for joining us, and hope you guys have a happy holiday season.
Yes, and happy solstice.
Yes, happy solstice to all. Take care, guys.
Bye.